Right, so I wanted to make a video explaining how I lost a lot of weight and built muscle and got into better shape. Some people have asked about it, and I think I have some useful strategies to share. So this was me before. I was very overweight. This was not actually me at my biggest either, because I'd already started to lose some weight. So I took this picture because I thought it'd be good to have a before picture, but I was actually bigger than this before. Not massively, but I was bigger than this. So I was pretty heavily overweight and unhealthy, and had a lot of physical problems. I was drinking a lot, and this is me now, or a couple of months ago. I've bulked up a bit since then, but I don't have any recent pictures. I'm in much better shape, and I don't have any of the physical ailments that I had before. I don't have any of the back problems or the problems with my legs. I don't think that's entirely due to weight loss, but I think that's been a large factor. And so the first and most important thing I did was quitting drinking. Alcohol is just terrible for your body and mind and everything anyway. And certainly if you're trying to lose weight and get in shape and you're drinking every day like I was, then it's just awful. And I used to drink white cider a lot, like White Ace, and I used to drink just a lot of cider and beer in general. I used to love going for like pub lunches. Well, I wouldn't even say I loved it. I was just addicted to going for like cheap, shitty kind of Wetherspoon style pub lunches. Go and watch the football, have cider, and then a like massive burger and chips. And there's a lot of research that suggests that when you drink alcohol before eating, you don't digest your food properly, and so you store a much greater portion of it as fat. So the energy is not, the food isn't consumed correctly as an energy source, and basically ends up being stored as fat. Not to mention the calories contained in the alcohol, the bloating effect, the havoc it wreaks on your digestive system and stomach in general, all the sugar that's in, certainly in things like cider. There's an enormous amount of sugar in it. And more importantly, I thought I liked drinking. I thought I needed it. I thought I was dependent on it. It made me really unhappy, and quitting it was probably the best decision I ever made in my life. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't actually quit like teetotal. I can easily have a drink now and not want to drink more, because again, I don't even like it. I don't like alcohol. I just I got hooked on it for a while, but I don't have any temptation to drink again, so I can easily. At the moment I'm not drinking at all, but it wouldn't be a problem if I had a drink, because I just don't like it. But either way, cutting that out, or at the very least seriously cutting back, is a very good idea, and a very good thing, a useful and helpful thing to do for yourself, for your mind and your body, because I won't get into it too much here, like the mental aspects of alcoholism or just of heavy drinking, but that's even worse than the physical part, in my opinion. So that was really important. The second most important step, and this is one where it's kind of impossible to be teetotal, but more or less cutting out sugar. Sugar, similarly, I think you get tricked into thinking you like it more than you do. I'm not denying, like, obviously desserts, cakes and ice creams and stuff, they're fucking delicious. Like, they're really, really nice, and they're made so appealing on purpose. That's why, for example, when you go to a shop, the sweets are always on special. They're not putting your staple products and good, sort of honest, healthy food on special, and they don't put that near the checkout either, because you're going to buy that anyway. If you want that, you're going to buy that. You're not going to be tricked into buying it. So they put all the sweets right next to the counter, and they have these like just endless amazing, and there's obsession now with like mixing different types of sweets where it's like Oreos and like Maltesers and stuff, and they're making these like all these different like really nice kind of like cakes and biscuits and stuff where they blend two different types together, and they're just endlessly appealing and very cheap. It's very cheap to buy really, really nice desserts. But more importantly, your brain, when you eat a lot of sugar, your brain tricks you into thinking you love it and that you need to have it every night and you don't feel right without it. That disappears so quickly. But it's super addictive, sugar, like really, really, really addictive. So you've got to get it out of your system. And when you do, you won't care. You just need to replace it with nice food. And similar to my strategy of spending money on quitting drugs or weed, or smoking, I think you can apply a similar principle with quitting sugar, which is that like let yourself have other things that you like. Like if you can take a week or so where you're going to feel a bit crappy without sugar, enjoy some other foods. Have some really nice things. Just don't have sugar, and you'll just stop wanting it. More or less, when you stop having it, you'll still obviously, like I said, I mean, if I see like really nice like ice creams and stuff, like really nice like banana ice cream or something, or like something really appealing, like it still looks amazing and it still tastes amazing if I do have it, but I don't feel weird if I don't have sugar. I don't feel like I have to have dessert every night, because I used to eat so much of it. Me and my ex, we used to sometimes buy a tub of Ben and Jerry's each, which is just insane when you think about it, really. And it got to a point where that was normal. Like, it was for a very brief period, to be fair, but it was just normal to have dessert every single night. Like, it was just like, yeah, you have your breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. It's just like one of the main meals of the day. And I don't have that compulsion whatsoever to have dessert now. And it's not, it's easy. It's easy when you just sort of get used to not eating sugar, basically. It's just very physically addictive. So the next thing is just to try and make exercise a part of your life in some way. For me, this has changed a lot over the years, because I should say also it took me like years to lose weight and get into shape. It wasn't something I did in like 1 year or something. And now I have to be a lot more regimented and disciplined about it, or at least I am more regimented and disciplined about it. But when I was first starting to lose weight, it was kind of easier. Like, so the main thing was just I don't know, walking became a big part of my life. Like, and me and my ex, we used to just like go on long walks a lot together. Like in the evenings, we'd just like walk around town and just like talk and whatever. And that was really good. And I also got into running and would try and go for runs as regularly as possible. And yeah, I mean, when you're first doing it, like I said, I don't think it's kind of easy to lose weight once you make like those initial big changes, like, cutting out sugar, cutting out alcohol, all of that stuff. So I don't think the type of exercise you do is like super important. I don't think it has to be like, I don't think you have to do a ridiculous amount of it. I think just getting used to just going for a run once in a while and enjoying that is more than enough. At first, start with what's kind of doable for you, and then you can start to work your way up if you need to. But yeah, for me, that was a lot of walking. I tried to just walk everywhere. I used to have a bicycle, and then I just thought, I'm never walking anywhere because I've always got the bicycle. So it's better to, I got rid of it, and then I would just walk, everywhere I went. And this is not applicable to everybody, but I tended to try and choose jobs where I was walking around a lot as well. But that's because I always had really crappy jobs. So I had the freedom to just jump from one minimum wage job to another one. It wasn't really, but I did like leafleting and like cleaning and various other jobs where I was on my feet all day. So if you are like I was then doing minimum wage jobs, then consider maybe switching to one where you move around a lot, because it's pretty cool. Leafleting in particular is a fucking great job, actually. Like, just walk around all day listening to music, putting leaflets through doors. It's great. I miss doing that, actually. Yeah. So that's a big one, like making exercise a really important thing. Another thing is, if you're currently overweight, there will never be an easier time to build muscle. You will be building muscle. You will be able to build muscle and lose weight at the same time, especially if you're new to strength training. I wish I'd done a little bit more of this when I was losing weight initially, because when you get down to a low body fat, you can't build muscle and lose weight at the same time. It's practically impossible unless you're on steroids or something. So take advantage of the fact that you potentially can now, when possible. Also, when you're new to strength training, you don't need to, like, again, it's not something you need to put a great deal of thought into. Just like lift some weights if you've got them, do some push-ups, do like general sort of body weight exercises, pull-ups if you have access to a pull-up bar. I think that's, like, for me, that's like the best exercise. That's my favourite by far. But anything you can do, even just like get some resistance bands or whatever stuff you can do at home, whatever's, preferable to you. But it's a good thing to capitalize on while you can, because you can be burning loads of calories and running and still building muscle while you're losing weight. So you can, for example, do cardio in the daytime, and then in the evenings while you're watching TV or whatever, even just do like a little bit of strength training. And not only that, but when you're losing weight, you do want some muscle, because you can end up, otherwise, I wasn't big enough to have this problem, but like you can end up with like excess skin and stuff. And you don't want to like lose weight and be completely shapeless, So I think for anybody losing weight, it's very important to have a good amount of muscle as well, so that you don't really necessarily even get that much smaller. You just become in a better shape. You become less round. You become less unhealthy, and you look better. But you don't necessarily have to actually become that much smaller. And that also means like some of your clothes might still fit and stuff. It's more about losing fat rather than losing size. So yeah, anything you can do to maintain or build muscle throughout that process is a really good idea. And as I said, it's an advantageous time to do so. Another thing, and I'm going to do more videos about green tea in general, but green tea is really helpful. It aids in fat burning. There's a lot of research about this. It increases the rate at which you burn fat. So, I got really into having green tea in the mornings. It also means you avoid all the like sugary shit that some people get into when they're having caffeine, whether that's like Red Bulls or coffees with loads of cream and stuff in and all of this. Green tea is really good. It also has theanine in. It has an enormous range of health benefits. Green tea is incredible. Like, I seriously recommend getting into green tea. It's I'm going to do more videos on it in future. In fact, by the time you see this, I may have done those videos, so they might be in the description on all the different benefits of green tea and why it's a great thing to have. But yeah, definitely it aids in fat burning, and it's a great source of caffeinated energy without having to consume sugar or whatever else. And more importantly, which will bring me on to my next point, you can drink green tea without breaking your fast. Which is important if you decide to do this next thing, which I found very helpful, which is intermittent fasting. There are various different types of intermittent fasting. You've probably heard of it before. I think it's really good in general. I don't necessarily agree with like the extreme modes of it or with all of the alleged benefits of it, but it's a very, very good way to lose weight. It's also, I think it's pretty good for you in terms of energy levels. It appears to be able to kind of reverse the onset of diabetes, which makes sense when you think about the mechanisms at play, because every time, it might be getting a little bit, pseudoscientific here. Apologies, take it what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. But whenever you eat, your body produces insulin, and when we're eating all day constantly, we're constantly triggering that insulin response. It's like it doesn't have a break, and your body starts to struggle to produce insulin. And so I think it's kind of the same way as like if you drink all day or if you smoke weed all day, you don't get stoned anymore. Like if you're smoking weed 24/7, you don't feel it. If you only smoke in the evenings or you only smoke at the weekends, you feel it a lot more. It's a tolerant. You need to take a tolerance break, and I guess it can be thought of intermittent fasting as like a tolerance break for your for your insulin receptors or whatever they're called, for your insulin production. And insulin production is, I believe, what allows you to gain energy from the food that you consume as well. So it means basically that it means that you get more energy from everything that you eat. So if you find that you're like I was, which is I would eat and I would immediately feel exhausted every time I ate. I wasn't getting energy from food. I felt really tired all the time. I think that's because my body was knackered from me waking up in the morning, eating something, eating right before bed, eating all day, just constantly triggering that response and not giving my body time to to kind of reset. So I started eating in an 8-hour window. I think I would do but usually at best it was an 8-hour window. I often went a bit outside it, but I tried to go from around 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And that's quite difficult at first. You have to build up to it and get used to it. I would suggest just going for like a 10 or even start with a 12-hour window if you're quite unhealthy or you're not managing your eating very well. Switching even to a 12-hour window, I think, can be okay. So you could go, for example, from 10 until 10. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing, and you can start to reduce that window over time. A 10-hour window is probably a more sensible place for most people to start. So, for example, 10. Start eating at 12 noon and finish at 10 p.m. or something, and that includes even some supplements, vitamins, things that have 0 calories. Even some of them do actually break your fast. I'm not sure, maybe not if they have 0 calories, I don't know, but I know that there are some surprising things that break your fast. You have to be very smart about it. There's no sense in, for example, eating all of your free meals and being finished with all of your eating by 8 p.m. and then pointlessly having a tiny snack or a tiny sip of juice or something at 11 p.m. because you're just for this one small thing, you're extending your window by 3 hours and it's pointless. So your body's having to work all that extra time just for you to have this tiny little thing. So just be smart about your eating and try to condense it if you can into a shorter period. That was really, really helpful for me. That was when I fully got into intermittent fasting. That was when I really lost weight. Like I'd been gradually losing weight for years, and then I guess earlier this year, at the beginning of this year, around then, I just started to lose so much weight, so quickly, just from, well, not just then actually, I guess it started last year, probably last summer until the early stage of this year. I actually lost too much weight. I got too thin. If you look at some of my early videos on this channel, I was pretty gaunt, and then after that I started bulking again because it was actually difficult to even keep the weight on because I wouldn't eat until 2, and then I didn't get hungry. And then it was hard to eat enough calories in the rest of the day. So now that I'm bulking and strength training a lot more, I have a longer window. I eat for a longer period of time because it's quite hard to eat 2,600 calories in a short window of time, especially if you're trying to avoid sugar and carbs and stuff. It's kind of crazy. So but really good way, really, really good way to lose weight. Next one is not cutting out carbs, but just trying to improve your relationship with carbs, or probably, dependence on them if you are overweight. I'm not one of these people that thinks you should have 0 carbs or anything, but they are incredibly addictive, especially stuff like, crisps and fries and white bread and things like that. And I from what I can gather, the effect they have on your body is not all that different to the effect that sugar has. They're pretty bad, and they give you kind of spikes in energy, but not stable energy. So in general, in day-to-day life, I try to have now every day for breakfast I have oats, which are they're much slower releasing form of energy. They don't give you the glycemic spikes or whatever. And chickpeas and things like that. I have a lot of chickpeas with my dinner. They also have, both of those things have a lot more protein and other nutrients in general in, rather than just kind of carbohydrates with no nutritional value. I still really like fries and stuff like that, and that's not something I've cut out entirely, but yeah, I'm trying to avoid that type of stuff because in general. It's not great to have. And more importantly, it's incredible. Carbs are incredibly addictive. So if you feel like you're constantly hungry, a lot of that is probably from carb addiction. It kind of is like it's like that thing about the wolf licking the blade, and the blade gets its blood on it, and the more blood gets on the blade, the more the wolf licks the blade. There's there was an intro about that on to a Dead Prez album, the album Let's Get Free. I used to listen to it all the time when I was a kid. It's kind of funny because it's sort of like a militant, like sort of Black Panther-esque album, and it's kind of like, I wouldn't say anti-white people necessarily, but it's, yeah. And I used to just listen to that all the time as a little posh white kid, and I was like, yeah, man, the fucking struggle, yeah. And that song, anyway, used to always really get me. Like, it's not even a song; it's like an intro. A guy talking about it, he's telling this story. It's not important; it's completely irrelevant to the point of this video. But it's kind of interesting to listen to anyway. And he's talking about how wolves, they'll like lick this blade, and the more blood gets on it, the more they think they're getting like something nice, and actually it's their own blood. And then they'd like, drink their own blood and basically like lick themselves to death. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen if you eat carbs, but there's a similar mechanism at play. The more carbs you eat, the more your body becomes dependent on them, the more hungry you feel. They're not filling you up, they're making you hungrier over time in the long run. So the more you eat like crisps or chips, if you must call them that, as an American, they're crisps, by the way. They're crisp. That's why they're called crisps. And it's confusing because potato chips, we invented those. We called them chips, right? Because they're chips of potato. They're not slices, they're not crisps, they're chips. And then you bastardize them, and you call them, and then you call crisp chips. Don't worry, forget it, it's not important. I'm losing focus. But anyway, yeah. Those types of carbs in general, white rice, white bread, chips, fries, crisps, whatever, very addictive, and will make you very fat and tired and hungry, basically, if you eat too many of them, if you let them control your life or your diet. So those should be a treat, really, I think, and not something that you eat all the time. Yeah, so another thing, perhaps an obvious suggestion, but trying to, especially when you're in the weight loss phase, and if you're not particularly bothered about, like, building muscle or whatever else, and you're very overweight and you're just trying to lose weight, finding replacement foods that are very filling. For example, like I would add a lot of fried cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, chickpeas, as I mentioned already, they're another good one. Things like that to dinners. And if you fry things like that and you use a lot of spices and salt and nice, flavouring for foods like that, nice seasonings, they can be really, really nice and really filling, and a good replacement for fries and stuff like that. Like one of my favourite things to do, I don't have an oven anymore so I can't do it, but was just to do like wings and fries, and I would make them incredibly, like the fries would be really heavily seasoned, and I often midway through I'd pour a bit of the fat from the wings onto the fries, and it'd be like really just have a massive plate of wings and fries and loads of hot sauce and stuff. I think that's fine to do once in a while, but I started replacing a portion of the fries, like some of the fries, with like fried cabbage and stuff like that, with the same seasoning on, and it's just as filling, and actually it's really nice. It's really like refreshing. It gives you something different on the plate, red cabbage this was, and it kind of it adds a bit of variety to the meal, and it just takes away some of the calories and the carbs from the meal, and replaces it with something more nutritious and healthy. So I think starting to try and find interesting replacements. We also live in an amazing age of food now. I think like the amount of innovation that's going into cooking and stuff is just really unprecedented. Like if you think back to what food was like in the 90s, it was terrible. Food back then was so bad compared to now. You can go online now and people tell you how to make a pizza base out of cauliflower. Like people tell you how to make like pulled pork out of fucking fruit and shit. Like it's crazy. It's really I can't necessarily vouch for either of those things. I don't know, but I know that there's a lot of amazing alternative ways to prepare things. That whether it's because you have you're a vegan or you have dietary requirements or whatever, there are a lot of really nice things you can make that are healthier or good alternatives to the things you're currently eating, and a lot of ways of making vegetables and things like that much more enjoyable. So yeah, look into that. Try to find suitable replacements. Don't just cut out the things that you can't have, but try to find nice things that you actually enjoy that are relatively easy to make. It might be a bit of effort at first to find these things and go through trial and error and discover new things, but it's definitely worth it. There's a lot of stuff out there. Another thing we used to do a lot, me and my ex, was just make massive salads with chicken, like fry some chicken breast, let it cool off, make a massive salad with like citrus or olive oil or whatever else, with loads of like nice leafy salad, chicken, tomatoes and whatever else on it. And as long as you get a sensible dressing, you don't use a dressing that's too... because a lot of dressings and sauces contain a huge amount of calories and are generally quite unhealthy. But if you get a sensible, decent dressing, then you can make really, really nice salads that are, really tasty and filling and will still enable you to lose a lot of weight. Alright, so I think that's basically it for the kind of weight loss side of things for the most part. Those are the main ways in which I lost weight. One thing I've got to mention, well, a lot of the time I would exercise whilst fasted. So when I was doing intermittent fasting, I would go for a run in the morning, and that was really good. And running up hills and running on the beach, for a brief period I lived next to the beach, I used to run on the beach in the morning. That was really good. Exercising fasted I always found really good. The amount of calories you burn is the same regardless, but I just found it an efficient and kind of enjoyable way to do it, to get my exercise out of the way, and then I would just eat whatever for the rest of the day. Not eat whatever, but I mean eat whatever I was going to eat. I wasn't, in the early stages, sorry, I know I said I was done talking about the weight loss stuff, but I'm going on about it more now, but in the early stages I wasn't really calorie counting. Perhaps it would have been easier if I had done, but I just felt that would be really boring, and it would be kind of... there's a really good YouTuber called Strength Side, and he does like strength training and fitness stuff, and he's a really cool guy, and he sort of takes a chilled out attitude to fitness. I mean, he's in amazing shape, but he takes a fairly chilled out attitude towards it, and he's into a lot of like stretching and stuff like that as well. I'd recommend his channel. But he said that he stopped calorie counting, and in his words he said it ruined my relationship with food, and I can see how it does that. I'm calorie counting quite strictly at the moment because I'm like always kind of like, I'm trying to like bulk steadily and not put on too much fat and to gain muscle, and I feel I have to be quite precise, especially to make up for lost time, because I got into fitness very late really. But I can understand what he means. It does make it a bit like, it's fine when I'm on my own and I'm eating at home, but if I go to somebody's house, I'm kind of annoying, because it's like, I don't know what I can have, and if it's a takeaway, I don't know what the calories are, and oh shit, sorry. Thought it was off. Been lying dormant, waiting to fucking spoil my video. Yeah, it's difficult with calorie counting. It's not enormously difficult, it's fine, but if you don't need to, I would say don't bother. And if you're very big and you're willing to make big lifestyle changes, then I just don't think you need to do it. I don't think it's important. If you just stop eating junk food all the time, and you start to eat less, and you start to eat more healthy food, and you start to exercise more, and you stop eating sugar, and maybe stop drinking excessively if you're doing so, I really don't think you need to calorie count at first. If you start doing all of those things and after 6 months you feel you haven't made any progress, or things aren't changing, then yeah, maybe consider calorie counting. One thing actually, when I first started losing weight, I did very briefly calorie count because I had no idea how much you should have in a day, how many calories are in what. It's good to do it maybe for a week or so, just to get a kind of rough idea in your head of how calorie counting works and of roughly how much you should be having based on your body weight and gender and height and everything else and the amount of exercise you do, and you get an idea of how many calories you burn by walking and running and all different things. So yeah, it definitely is a really valuable thing, but if it can be avoided, I would say it's better to avoid it personally. I just think it's not very fun, and it's already maybe, you're having to cut out foods that you like and work hard on losing weight, so maybe you don't also need to add strict calorie counting into that as well. But it's definitely good to look on the packets and see how many calories are in the things that you're eating and stuff like that, for sure. So anyway, where was I? Calorie counting. I used to exercise fasted anyway, and then I would just, whatever, go about my day. And so moving on to the strength training side of things. So I would try usually to time my... I would try and these are the sort of stupid things that are not really like proper fitness strategies, and that someone who's really into fitness would never do and never think about it in this way, but that I feel you can kind of get away with when you're in the early stages of it. So one thing, again, as well as not calorie counting, I didn't measure my sets when I was working out. I wasn't regimented about what I did. I wasn't doing progressive overload. Google that if you don't know what it is, or you don't necessarily need to know at this point, but I wasn't doing anything like that. I was just exercising kind of not when I felt like it. I wasn't being disciplined, but I would just go and I would just do some pull-ups, I would do push-ups, I would go for a run, I would do whatever. I didn't really think about it, and I missed that in a way. It was quite joyful, like to just go and just do pull-ups and not count them and not think about it and just do it until I felt tired. And that's one thing, you can get away with in the early stages. You can get away with not being regimented and not calorie counting, things like that. So that was cool. But so you can have a lot of fun with it in that regard. Exercise, if you're just trying to lose weight and be generally a bit healthier and you're not too worried about body composition and all that, then you can just have so much fun. It's really, really, really fun to exercise. You might not think it is, but you probably just haven't found exercises that are fun for you, because it really is fun and addictive and just a great thing to do. So try to enjoy it. Try to find exercise that suits you and stuff like that. As for building muscle whilst losing weight, or just building muscle in general, as I've already mentioned in this video, I think pull-ups are just incredible. They're so good. I'm talking wide grip pull-ups, like I forget, there's different names for different types. There's also chin-ups where you hold it like this basically, and they're okay, they're quite good, but more specifically the ones where your hands are facing outwards and your grip is slightly wider. It's just the best form of exercise for me. It's the most enjoyable, and it exercises your core, your back, your shoulders, all of your arms, even like to some degree like your neck and everything. Like it's basically a full upper body workout if you do them with correct form. It's really important to actually research like what correct form is for pull-ups, well, for any form of exercise, but just not just for avoiding injuries, but to actually get the most out of doing it as well, because you can just put a lot of strain and pressure on your joints and on the wrong parts of your body, rather than actually doing a full range of motion that like kind of evenly exercises the whole upper half of your body. But pull-ups, they're fantastic, man. I'm so addicted to them. They're a really, really good way to get in shape, and they're difficult to do at first, but there's all sorts of variations. Like you can do you can just hang from the bar and stuff like that until you have the strength to do a whole pull-up. Body weight exercise in general I think is really fun. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think you can get better results at a gym with weights and machines, but I just don't really like going to the gym. I like to be outdoors. I don't really want to be around a bunch of other people. I find the gym boring. There's also always horrible music playing in there. Like you have to listen to like crappy dance music, or you put your own music in, but then you're listening to like whatever you're listening to plus like dance music, and it's just fucking horrible. So I don't really like the gym. I think the thing with weights though is because they go up in numbers and they're they're very structured, and that makes it much easier to consistently increase what you're lifting and to count everything and to be very precise. I do think, and there's more variety. There's more you can do with them than you can do with bodyweight exercises, and you can combine them in all sorts of interesting ways. So I think you probably can make more progress with weights. I just find bodyweight exercises more fun. But whatever, really. But yeah, sorry, I'm going all over the place. Sorry, I've lost my structure a little bit. But one of the things that I used to do was on days, if I knew, for example, I was going to have like a takeaway curry and it was going to be a massive meal and I was going to eat loads of calories and, presumably amongst that, a lot of protein as well, I would do a lot of pull-ups generally on those days. I would go and do a lot of like strength training. And again, that's not really like a serious way to approach training, but if you don't want to approach training in a serious way, there's just little shortcuts you can take like that. I think like trying to time big meals around times when you've done a lot of strength training that day, so that you can actually put some of that food to use at least and build some muscle from it. That was one of the things. Another thing I did was I don't smoke weed anymore, but when I was smoking weed all the time, I was having bongs all day. I used to just say, okay, every time I want a bong, I have to do 50 of something. So that'd be 50 squats or 50 push-ups or 50 like star jumps or 50 whatever, like or a 50-second plank. And that was really good. It probably made me smoke a little bit less, and it also again was another way I was able to, whilst losing weight, at the very least maintain muscle mass and probably add some, because it's quite, as I said, quite easy to build muscle mass when you're overweight. So those were the main things. What else? All right, I have to interject here with a clip because I was editing this and I realised I forgot to mention something. So I don't want to go too much into the strength training side of things because it's not really what this video is about. It's more for people who just, are overweight and want to like lose weight and generally get into shape. But real quick, so my schedule for strength training is Mondays, upper body, like pull-ups basically for the most part. Pull-ups, push-ups, stuff like that, arms, shoulders, back and everything, chest. Tuesday, core training. Wednesday, upper body again. Thursday, core training. Friday, upper body again. So Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, I'm doing upper body. Tuesdays and Thursdays, core training. And Saturdays and Sundays will be running and legs in some combination. It doesn't really matter, just whatever. Yeah, a lot of people, I got into an argument about this online because people were saying this is like, it's ridiculous to have 2 dedicated days for core training, that you should do that on the days when you do your other training. I disagree strongly. I mean, if people do that, that's fine. Some people, they prefer to do 3 days a week where they do their whole body on those 3 days and then they rest every other day. And they only work out for like 3 days a week. I kind of want to work out like every day. And also, I think if my core is tired, that affects me when I'm doing pull-ups. I can't do as many, and it doesn't make any sense to me personally to do them on the same day. Also, I can focus completely on one part of my body and then the next day focus on another, and it means that on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I'm doing my core training, I don't have to leave the house. You don't have to go anywhere to do core training. You don't have to go to the park or the gym. This one type of training you can do very, very well at home, is trying to build abs, abdominal strength, core strength, whatever. You can do that at home so easily. So it's not really a whole dedicated day. It doesn't take me long, but doing it separately to everything else when I've got my energy back, I'm rested, I'm not tired out from doing pull-ups, I'm not, it is really beneficial. And you can see, to be fair, like I'm not massive at all, and I'm not even, my body fat's not even that low, but I have very defined abs and a very strong core. Like my core strength is crazy, and that is because of this, I think, because I dedicate 2 days to it. And again, I don't have to spend much time on those days. But I think this idea, people say that your abs will be trained when you do other workouts. They will to some degree when you're doing pull-ups and things. Yeah. So yeah, your core will be trained while you're doing other exercises. Like you get definitely your abs will be worked, a lot of weight training, body weight training. But I think it's very important to do specific, or at least potentially very beneficial to work on them specifically. And it's kind of easy and not very time consuming to do. So for me, that's ab rollouts. I would not recommend doing ab rollouts. It's where you use an ab wheel. I would not recommend doing that if you're new to training in general. It's quite easy to injure yourself doing them, and it's a kind of a weird exercise. I still don't feel I've figured it out completely, but it is very good. It gives you a very good workout. Leg raises. I've started doing weighted leg raises now. I put ankle weights on, but leg raises in general. All of these core workouts, you have to have really good form because you can screw your back up, but they can also greatly strengthen your back as well, which is another reason why they're really good. It's not just for strength, it's also kind of support your spine and everything and your whole body basically. Leg raises, all different types of leg raises. There's like all sorts of variations on basically that general idea of lying down and just like lifting your legs up. And, like lifting them up side to side or alternating or together or whatever. Planks, I'm not a huge fan of planks. I don't really think planks are that beneficial. They're a good beginner's exercise, and they're good for sort of just building kind of stamina and stability. I think planks are a bit overrated, personally. Hollow body holds are amazing, really painful and unbearable to do. Hollow body crunches as well. I don't think sit-ups are good. I think sit-ups are very bad for your back. Those are the main things really, like ab rollouts. What have I got on my... I'm sorry, I'm checking my little whiteboard where I write my exercises down to see if I'm forgetting anything. Leg raises, ab rolls, pelvic raises, oblique twists. Basically, there's all sorts you can do. Athlean X has some good videos on core training, and various other channels have good videos about it. But basically, I think the key is to just put a bit of time aside and do it separately, in my opinion. Another thing I've done that's been very helpful in that regard is I've tried to engage my core when I'm just doing things in general. Like if I'm carrying things, if I'm carrying like a lot of shopping bags, for example, I try to stand straight with really good posture and just engage my core and just kind of like tense my abs and use them to kind of absorb pressure from the rest of my body. Walking uphill and trying to stand again like kind of straight with really good posture and engage your core when you're walking uphill. I think that's really good. When you're walking in general, especially if you do hiking and things like that, trying to make sure you're not putting all the pressure on your joints or on your legs or on your spine, but again, like try to take as much of that pressure as you can on your muscles, on your abdominal muscles when it's sensible to do so, just trying to use them when you can, and doing I personally think all the same principles of muscle building that you apply to your arms or your shoulders or anything else, or your legs, I think they all apply to your core. And I don't know why people act like they're any different really fundamentally to other muscles in your body. They can be trained in the same way. I would say from doing this, mine are disproportionately, not in a bad way, but I mean like as in like I feel I've made very good progress with my core strength compared to other parts of my body, and I feel personally that people are wrong when they there's an oft used phrase, abs are made in the kitchen. And well, yeah, you can, if you get very skinny, you'll have like visible abdominal muscles, the same as everybody does. Everybody has abdominal muscle, but that's not the same as having a strong core. That's just being very skinny, and you have to starve yourself and eat a very restrictive diet and constantly to be obsessive about it in order to maintain that. And that's stupid, because it's better to just work on them as a muscle group the same way you'd work on your arms or anything else, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's worked very well for me. Another thing I wish I had done more was to make sure that I was eating enough protein every day while I was losing weight, because it's not that difficult to do, but you just have to pay attention a little bit. I don't do protein shakes anymore. I don't think you really need them, but like eggs, tuna, chicken, chickpeas, oats, all those types of things are all good sources of protein. And yeah, try to eat plenty of protein every day, I think, especially if you do want to build muscle while you're losing weight. Also, this stuff. creatine. I probably didn't need to get up and show it to you. I probably could have just said the name of it. But yeah, creatine. I would recommend taking about 6 grams of it a day. Maybe don't start immediately. Maybe wait until you've lost a bit of weight. And again, more something to do if you're like really focused on building muscle. But it's, of all the different supplements out there, it's the only one that's pretty much like completely anyone who's looking to build muscle should be taking. Basically, it increases the number of reps you can do. It increases your muscle endurance and your ability to build muscle, and overall it's very well backed up by research. It's perfectly healthy, it's good for you, it's actually good for your cognitive function, and in general pretty good thing to take. I'd recommend taking about 5-6 grams of it a day, depends on your body weight. Usually you need to take a bit more than it says on the packet. That's all really. I'll do more videos on this subject in future. Try and provide some more useful information as I think of it. It's hard to remember all of it at once. But yeah, just remember, basically, it's a marathon, not a sprint, as they say. It's not something you have to really hurry. You should try to enjoy it. Like, life is short. You don't know anyway. You know, you might get fucking run over by a bus in like 2 years' time. So there's no point spending all this time like putting pressure on yourself or being hard on yourself or feeling bad about yourself to achieve a goal if you're not going to enjoy the process of trying to achieve that goal, because you might never get there. You know, your life might get cut short, or things might change. There's always going to be some goal in the distance anyway, some way in which you feel you need to be better. I'm speaking to myself as much as anybody here. It's important to try and enjoy the process of trying to achieve those things, because if you can't enjoy that, you're just probably not going to enjoy life much anyway. So have fun with it, and be nice to yourself, you know. And yeah, it's not difficult really, but just be consistent, be patient, keep going. And assuming you have watched all of this, then you've already made a pretty big commitment to, you know, getting in shape and stuff. So well done, and I'm sure you'll do very well. Yeah, so that's all really. If you enjoyed this video in any way, please consider checking out my book, Practical Strategies for Better Mental Health. There's a link in the description and in the comments. It's available as a paperback, but it's also available in ebook form on Kindle. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. If not, it's pretty cheap. And it's basically like practical guide to improving your mental health. It's all backed up by science. I list all the sources at the back for all the studies. It's not really my personal opinion. It's just a kind of curated collection of ideas, scientifically proven, accessible, straightforward ways to improve your mental health and well-being. I think there's a lot of really useful stuff in here. Whether you're kind of like new to that type of thing or it's something you already know a lot about, I think everyone can kind of get something out of this. So consider checking it out. And also it is available free if either you don't have access to it in your country or whatever, or if you can't afford it, you can send me a DM on Instagram, bigdome22, BIGDOME22, or contact me through here or something, and I can send you a free digital copy of it.